In today's brief video, I want to share with you guys 5 books that played a huge role in my journey when it came to quitting smoking weed and my recovery process. If you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs, which are dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, substances that I once struggled with. You can find links to each of these books in the video description, or you can check out the pinned comment below for more paid and free resources through our Addiction Mindset recovery coaching programs. Now, book number 4 is going to be the most important, so make sure you hang around for that. Before I get into showing you guys this stack of books, I want to say this real quick. I quit doing drugs without an inpatient or an outpatient program. That was just the journey that I wound up taking. And if it wasn't for reading and educating myself, I can tell you I never would have got sober. So I'm super passionate about this. Okay, the first book would be Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Vaping, or Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking, or Alan Carr's Easy Way Quit Smoking Boot Camp. Now, I know this is about vaping and smoking cigarettes, but this book can apply to almost any addiction, certainly weed addiction. And all you have to do is replace the word vape or cigarette with the word weed, okay? So if you buy this book and you're addicted to weed, just replace the word vape or cigarette with weed when you're reading it, okay? This is an excellent book when it comes to helping create the mindset that you're no longer getting a benefit from the drug. I was certainly addicted to weed because I was under the assumption that I was getting some type of benefit from it. And it's safe to say, as I progressed throughout my addiction, there was no more benefits, or rather, the negatives were greatly outweighing any potential benefits. And this book does an excellent job at helping you make that transition in mindset. So I cannot recommend this book enough. Now, the next book, my second favorite book, would be This Naked Mind on Controlling Alcohol by Anne Grace. Now, I never personally had a major problem with alcohol. I picked up this book and interpreted it the same way I did Alan Carr's book. I simply replaced the word alcohol with weed, marijuana, or cannabis. This book helps, just like Alan Carr's book did, to create that shift in mindset that you're no longer getting a benefit from the drug, but it actually lays out really good action steps for a person to take in the quitting process. It kind of presents you with a 30-day challenge, and it sets you up with the tools and resources you need to quit smoking weed or quit drinking alcohol or quit smoking cigarettes, whatever the drug is, for about 30 days. So this book is like Alan Carr's book, but it actually comes with a pretty nicely laid out action plan to facilitate your quitting process. Now, I read Alan Carr's book first, and then I dove into this book later on. So this was creating a shift in mindset. This one was helping me actually take action. Now, one of my favorite books, this is book number 3, and it's kind of like the tough love version for addiction recovery, is Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey, The New Cure for Substance Addiction. Jack Trimpey was a recovering alcoholic, and he founded his own programs, the Rational Recovery programs, an alternative to AA, and 12-step programs. So if you've been in 12 steps for marijuana, and that hasn't been working for you, which they have great programs, but if that hasn't worked for you, I would highly recommend this book. This book is kind of like tough love. It frames the mindset that addiction is, to an extent, a choice. And although I know that's controversial, and I don't really have much of an opinion on that, this book does an incredible job at putting the decision and the power back in your hands. This book also goes into detail about how you can start to identify that addictive voice when it's speaking to you and how you can start to nullify or silence that voice. This is great for people who plan on quitting on their own, who maybe haven't done well with traditional 12-step programs, inpatient or outpatient programs. I can't recommend this enough, but it's kind of a tough love version. But I really enjoyed this book. This book actually is the influence on many other recovery books out there, but this is like the OG version of it. Now, the fourth book, and I think potentially one of the most important books when it comes to setting forth proper expectations, when it comes to the healing from an addiction recovery, is this new book by Dr. Anna Lembke, Dopamine Nation. If you're struggling to quit adult media content, smoking weed, cigarettes, nicotine, vaping, it doesn't matter, gambling, I cannot recommend this book enough. If you're going to buy one book out of these 5, this is the book to purchase. Dopamine Nation. She goes into detail about how the brain works, how addiction works, and she sets forth real life solutions, how you can start to heal those dopamine pathways in your brain that have been damaged by addiction. I read this book recently, within the last few months of making this video, and I can tell you of all the books I've read, this one has been the most powerful book. And I'm excited to announce we're going to have Dr. Anna Lembke on our YouTube channel coming up in the next few months. So if you haven't subscribed, now would be a really good time to do so. Okay, my last book, and this would be the book I recommend reading last. I put these in the order in which I would recommend reading them, by the way, would be by Michael Burnoff, Average Sucks. Now, before you get offended by that or start to make associations as to what that title means, he's referring to our own personal average. And I can tell you, my personal average day when I was stuck in active addiction, it really sucked. Now, the goal of his book is to explain why you don't get what you want, aka in my case, it was sobriety, and what to do about it. So he lays out really, really good action steps on how to beat your day-to-day personal average. As someone who loves self-help books, someone who loves motivational books, I think this is one of the most slept on books out there. Average Sucks. It's an easy read, it's extremely motivating, and it comes with very clearly defined action steps. Now, I wouldn't necessarily read this one until you get into the right mindset and have the right expectations as far as addiction recovery goes. But once you're becoming more comfortable in your sobriety and recovery process, this is a book that I would highly recommend picking up a copy of. Now, bonus tip, and I don't have it here with me, The Way of the Seal, which is a book written by a Navy SEAL. And this book was incredible for me when it came to helping me develop new coping techniques and new mindsets to deal with the depression, the anxiety, some history of trauma from a past life of mine. The Way of the Seal would be my bonus book recommendation. Now, I can tell you guys, if you're sleeping on reading in your recovery and sobriety process, even if you're in a 12-step inpatient, outpatient program, get on reading, get on educating yourself. I believe it's through education, lifestyle modification, preparation, and having proper expectations that we can achieve the best sobriety and recovery process possible. And I think a great way to go about that is by reading books. Now, if you want more free or paid information about our services here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, be sure to check out the pinned comment. If you want links to each of these books, head right over to the video description, or otherwise, follow me into the next video where I talk a little bit more about Dr. Anna Lembke's book, Dopamine Nation. I'll see you guys there.